Hello, I am Precious Wayne Peaks, and today we're going to talk or actually look briefly at the three-part initiative to lower student loan debt. I'm going to share my screen really quickly, and we're going to walk through not one of the news articles, but what the White House has released about this three-part plan to lower student loan debt. Okay, so we see this is directly from whitehouse.gov, and this is the summary so that we can keep it short. And as we already know from the news and the different articles, that today President Biden announced a three-part plan to provide more breathing room to America's families. The plan offers targeted debt relief as part of a comprehensive effort to address the burden of growing college costs and make the student loan system more manageable for working families, which is most definitely needed. The president announced that the Department of Education will do the following: provide targeted debt relief to address the financial harms of the pandemic, which would be fulfilling what the president's campaign commitment was. And it says the Department of Education will provide up to $20,000 in debt cancellation to Pell Grant recipients with loans held by the Department of Education. So if you're taking notes, 20,000 in debt cancellation to those who had Pell Grants with loans held by the Department of Education, not by Wells Fargo, not by Bank of America, but by the Department of Education. When we're talking to clients or looking at our own situations, we want to make sure that we're being specific. And up to $10,000 in debt cancellation for non-Pell Grant recipients. So, Pell Grant recipients are people who applied and received a Pell Grant, and in addition to that, held a loan from the Department of Education. Non-Pell Grant recipients are people who either did not apply or was not approved for a Pell Grant and strictly had the loans. Borrowers are eligible for this relief if their individual income is less than $125,000. For married couples, less than $250,000. So this means it will impact the low income families. No high income individual or high income household in the top 5% will benefit from this action. So this action is directed directly to those of lower income. For the most part, we'll say the people who need it most. Okay, to ensure a smooth transition to repayment and prevent unnecessary defaults, the pause on federal student loan repayment will extend one final time through December 31st. So those who have federal student loans who's been on a pause, the pause has been extended until December 31st, and borrowers should expect payments to resume in January of 2023. So if your loan is on hold and now you have until December, take that money and pay off other things so that when January comes and your loan becomes due again, it's not an overlap of things. Something else is already paid off. Okay, let's go a little farther down. They want to make the loan system more manageable for both current and future borrowers. So they're saying they want to cut monthly payments in half for undergrad loans. The Department of Education is proposing a new income-driven repayment plan that protects more low-income borrowers from any payments and caps monthly payments for undergraduate loans at 5% of a borrower's discretionary income, which they're saying is half of the rate that is for the existing plans now. This means the average annual loan payment will be lowered by more than $1,000 for both current and future borrowers. That is a good thing because in most cases, the biggest thing is you get all that money to go to school, to get the education, to get the job, and then can't make the money really to sustain normal life and the student loan that it took for you to get there. So putting a cap on it and making it unable to go over a certain rate will be helpful for those going to school in the future, getting future loans. And they're saying it will apply to even those who have current loans now. So we're going to still go down a little more. The part of the plan is fixing the broken public service loan forgiveness program. So a lot of people may not have known, but those who work in public service were always supposed to have a form of loan forgiveness. The rule was in place for, of course, those who work for the government, military, things of that nature. But for some reason, it didn't really work. So what they're proposing a rule that borrowers who have worked at a nonprofit, in the military, in the federal, state, tribal, or local government receive appropriate credit toward loan forgiveness. Okay, these improvements will build on temporary changes the Department of Education has already made to the PSLF, which more than 175,000 public servants have already had more than 10 billion in loan forgiveness approved. So this is really a big deal because our public service workers, in some form or fashion, risk their lives daily to perform the service that they need. Not just the officers who go out into the streets and handle crime and are faced with the different communicable diseases and things like that, but those who work in government get bomb threats. When people go in for different things, people are mean to them. They're exposed to all of the communicable diseases. They also don't always make as much as people on the outside may think they do. So this will definitely help them. Let's go down a little more. So it's saying another little piece is they want to protect future students and taxpayers by reducing the cost of college and holding schools accountable for price hikes. Well, that's a good thing because for some people, it's not that bad. For some students with extremely good grades who get a full ride, it's definitely not that bad. But there are some people who struggle to pay for their kids to go to school, literally sacrifice daily necessary needs to get them there, or get them there, and then the student has to depend on um, very low income lifestyle, the bare necessities, if even that, to get through. So the president has championed the largest increase to Pell Grants in over a decade. And it's one of the largest one time influxes to college and universities to further reduce the cost of college. So the president will continue to fight to double the maximum Pell Grant and make community college free. So colleges have an obligation to keep prices reasonable and ensure borrowers a great value for their investment. The administration has already taken key steps to strengthen accountability in areas where the previous administration weakened rules. the Department of Education is announcing new efforts to ensure student borrowers get value for their college costs. Now, this has its pros and cons because if you make community college 100% free to the students, then who pays the teachers? And I know somebody's going to pay the teachers, but at the end result, who pays the teachers? So, will there be a tax increase to cover these costs? It is not listed here. I am not assuming or saying that there will be, but this is something to think about because, for the most case, community colleges do work to charge the very least amount that they can in their communities. But we will watch this one and revisit this as it's updated to look closer at that. Okay, so the targeted debt relief. In an effort to address the financial harms of the public pandemic for low and middle income borrowers and avoid defaults on loan as loan repayments begin to start, the Department of Education will provide up to $20,000 in loan relief to borrowers withheld loans by the Department of Education, 125 or less. So they're pretty much repeating this again to make sure that it's understood. Based on statistics, they're saying most people with Pell grants came from families that made less than $60,000 a year. So they're feeling that most Pell Grant recipients already started out in a challenging situation and they have the most challenges in repaying their debt. Okay, so key things to remember: there's 20,000 in loan relief if you receive the Pell Grant and your loan is held by the Department of Education, and your income is less than $125,000. If you are married, less than 250. So for the 20 grand, had to have Pell Grant, loan held by the Department of Education, 125,000 income or less, single, 250,000 income or less, married. In order to qualify for the $10,000 in loan relief, no Pell Grant, loan held by the Department of Education. Same income rules apply. And it goes on to give various pie charts, etc. But when you go through and glance through, let's see what they're saying for students that currently have the debt that are dependents. And they will qualify according to this. Current students with loans are eligible for this debt relief. Borrowers who are dependent students will be eligible for relief based on parental income rather than their own. So, those of you who have kids in school that got the Pell Grant and the loan from the Department of Education, they are able to receive this relief based on your income, which is what got them the Pell Grant and the loan in the first place, rather than their own. They're saying that if all borrowers um, claim the relief they're entitled to, it will provide relief to up to 43 million borrowers. It will target low and middle income borrowers. It will help borrowers of all age. It will advance racial equality. Who is handling this? The Department of Education is who is running this particular ball. It is saying the Department of Education will work quickly and efficiently to set up a simple application process for borrowers to claim relief. The application will be no longer available when the pause on student loan repayments terminate at the end of the year. Nearly 8 million borrowers may be eligible to receive relief automatically because their relevant income data is already available to the department. So, what does that say in a nutshell? How do I get it? How do I get relief? Where do I go? The Department of Education will have a simple application that the people need to fill out. Some people will automatically have it applied if their income data is available to the Department of Education. So if they're currently on a payment plan and they're currently in communication and their information is already there, it's going to automatically apply to them. If it is not, then to claim it, the simple application is going to need to be filed. Of course, since the president just announced this today, and this recording, well, actually yesterday, and this recording is on the morning of the 25th of August, you may want to give them a day or two to get the application together, maybe a week. But the Department of Education is who will be handling it. And if it's not done automatically, it will be an application process. And it is saying that it will have to be in by the end of the year. It is also clear that because of the verbiage written into the American Rescue Plan, this debt relief will not be treated as taxable income. Again, this is not taxable income. Okay, so I hope that this helped someone. I hope that the information came at a good time for those who need it. I understand those who may have a slight discrepancy with it because, yeah, like with everything else, the money has to come from somewhere. So, where does this money come from? So, we already know there has been a bill to increase some taxes in some other areas, and that will probably be part of where it comes from. But as an overall, this is a good thing for the people who need it. This is a good thing for those that come from low income families. Get out here, get through school, push to be a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer, architect, someone to make a difference in the community. And even though they are in positions where they make really good money, their student debt is so high till it's really still a struggle to maintain their families and their homes and this debt. This is definitely something that I have no complaints with. My goal is to make sure that I reach out to my clients and to the general public, those who listen to the podcast, and share the information from a truthful standpoint directly from the source, not based on any bias or any opinion, to make sure that the people know how to take advantage of the things that are available to them, and to make sure you know how to make it make sense when it comes tax time, since that is what I do. I am a tax professional. So, what are the takeaways? Let's go over the takeaways one more time. $20,000 debt relief for Pell Grant recipients that have a loan with the Department of Education that make $125,000 or less if they are a single or head household, or $250,000 or less if they are married. Okay? Now, $10,000 in debt relief for those who did not get the Pell Grant but do have a loan held by the Department of Education that we're still at the same income ranks, 125 or less single, 250 or less married. It will be automatically applied to those whose information is up to date and verifiable in the system. For those that are not, there will be a simple application process provided by the Department of Education. The application will need to be in by December 31st. They said it has to be in before the loan payments begin in January of 2023. Is it considered taxable income? No. Because of the verbiage written into the American Rescue Act, this will not be considered as taxable income. Again, I am Precious Swain Peaks, owner of Anointed for Prosperity Bookkeeping and More. I hope that you have found this helpful. I will be probably doing a part 2, maybe a part 3 on this as the information progresses and things become available. I will be coming back and giving some more information on how to take advantage of this relief if it applies to you. If you have any questions, as always, you can go to www.anointedforprosperity.com and click book a free consultation. Or if you just have a quick question or just kind of want to keep up with what I have going on, feel free to go to Instagram and follow at Precious_Swain. On Facebook, of course, I am Precious Shonda Swain Peaks or Anointed for Prosperity on both Instagram and Facebook. And I have joined the TikTok realm at Imprecious ENT. Thank you so much for tuning in and be blessed.